The challenges facing our teens today mean that more than ever, we need to be there to support them and encourage them. The Dr.Stem Show is here to provide discussions about topics that will help promote healthy relationships, self-image, and success for teens, parents, and the community. Our young people can achieve more in life than they ever dreamed possible. The Dr.Stem Show, hosted by Dr. Stem Malatini, will foster these discussions and encourage your participation.
Juggling motherhood and work. Research today says many women these days are struggling to find ways to balance work and motherhood. It also says whether you're taking a time off or you're planning to go back into work, the struggle is always about juggling the balance between being a parent and going back to work. Today, we are going to be talking to a successful mother who was able to balance being a single parent and also working. No, not only that, she's now able to balance being a single mother and owning her own business. Welcome back, Saru.
Thank you, Dr. Stem. I'm humbled and excited to be here. And this subject is sort of a touchy subject to many because when you think of owning your own business, it's kind of nerve-wracking when you think about it. It's like, how do I go about it? And so it takes planning. It takes a lot of faith in believing in yourself, knowing that you can do it.
Yes, and I want to remind the audience that not only does it take a lot of faith and planning and believing in yourself, but it takes shows like today for you to see that, you know what, she looks like me, she's a woman, she had a child, was a single parent just like myself, but guess what? She was able to own her own business. She was able to juggle between being a single parent and working. So if she could do it, I can do it too. We're going to make sure that by the time that we finish, your mind is reeling and thinking, what can I do? What am I passionate about? What kind of a business do I want to see myself in? So as we are watching this show, my suggestion is you take out your pen, you start writing points that you see yourself in, that you start planning that journey for your own self, that, you know what, from today, I'm going to own my own business, and this is the kind of business that I have. Remember, Saru is coming to us from Florida. And if you didn't watch the first segment, she talked to us about how we both started in the nursing home, how we both started in a group home. So today we are going to start talking about how she went about starting her own business. Saru, I think most people are going, well, if she was a nurse's aide and she worked in a group home, how do you even start to think about owning your own business? What drove you to want to do that?
I had to find my passion. I had to find what I'm good at. And what I was good at after leaving the nursing home, the group home, was going into the hotel business, which I grew and was in there for over 20 years. So I started from the bottom, but I also emerged in that industry as a leader. Yeah. And being a woman, it was tough to get those positions, as you know. Yeah. And so I had to think about what was best for me and what was best for my son.
Yeah. So talking about that, okay, you know, I hear that. But then for you to get to that point, what are the challenges that you started facing in the job besides, now you got the job. So now, were there any challenges that you faced as a single mother being in the job?
Oh, absolutely. I face challenges every single day. Yeah. The funny thing is the higher I climbed in position, you know, the more hours I worked, I found myself being at work all the time, my phone ringing all the time. Somebody needed me there. You know, I needed to do this. I needed to go here. You know, the groups coming in the hotel, and I'm in charge for over 100 employees. And 6 or 7 outlets, and you know, conversion services is going. It's very stressful. Yeah. It was a very stressful time in my life. However, what got me through was I was passionate about it. I loved it. I loved helping people every day. Just walking in there, you know, it was like showtime. You know, so in all that, in learning, I was eager to learn. You know, I looked up to the people above me in how they got there, in what they were doing. And I was always asking questions, how do I do that? How do I do that? You know, how do I look at these numbers, you know, in order? But it was like a preparation, you know, to be able to meet my success that I am in today.
So the good thing about having this conversation today is, guess what? I was the person that was there to stay with her son at home, to be able to, you know, take care of her son when she was going through the stresses. And then guess what? I also was a listening ear when she came back and was so frustrated because she needed time to be able to spend the day with her son, and they said no.
Yes.
I remember that was like fire under you. Like, don't they understand that I'm a single parent? So part of those frustrations, a lot of parents are going through that today and going, well, you know what? I don't like, you know, the way that my boss doesn't understand that I have to go there to the school with my son. I have to be here with the son. And, you know, with those, some of the frustrations that drove you to say, you know what? I might as well just work for myself.
Yes. Let me tell you something that made me, you know, a great leader for my own employees.
Yes.
It was understanding where I came from, okay? So I understood what it was to be them. And therefore, you know, I knew they had families, I knew they had children. So I listened. And when they needed a day off, if I could give it to them, yes, I did, so they can go take care of that. However, it wasn't always easy for me because I was in charge, so I had to be there, because in corporate America, when things go wrong, they start from the top. And the fear of losing that income. And I didn't want to be there anymore, where I had to fear losing, you know, income. So there had to be a better way. And there's always a better way, isn't there?
Yes, yes. Your better way, you started a business.
Yes.
And this business, it's actually named after you, Saru International.
Yes, it is.
Tell us a little bit about Saru International. What do you do there?
So Saru International, I am the president and CEO of the company.
Yes.
I founded it in 2008, actually. And, you know, it was probably the worst time, you know, to start a business. As you know, we had the recession that hit, you know, but I didn't give up. Something in me just told me there's something there, you know, and I need to be heard, and I need to go out there and do this. You know, so I thought of a name, and I thought, the industry knows me as Saru International. I'm going to be working in the same industry. So Saru is already a household name for my industry that I was in. So that's how I picked it. Then I had to think about, okay, what is it that I'm going to do? And so I looked back at the things that I had done. What was I good at? Well, Saru is good at dolding herself up and doing makeup and looking good. So I thought, wow, I got to think about that. You know, so I wrote that down. And then I thought about, how can I get out though? That won't be enough. So I thought about, what else do I do in this industry that I could get outside and do it? Then I thought, well, you're the brains for most of these things. You teach your employees, you train them in so many things. You know, so I wrote down all the things that I did train in. And I did my research to find out which companies were out there that I could partner with and go on my own.
That's quite interesting. So what you do now, you know, I heard you talking about, you know, you were good at dolding yourself up with the beauty and also training. So the specifics of what Saru International does, if I were to ask you to say, what do I hire you for?
Okay, so you can hire me to do food safety training.
There you go. Okay.
And you can hire me to do training for intervention procedures, which is an alcohol awareness class. So basically, I'm teaching all employees that are, you know, serving alcohol to serve alcohol responsibly. And
they actually train?
Yes, because people are, you know, the thing is, people don't understand that alcohol is a liability. And so we have to address that.
You mean if somebody drinks in your hotel and they get into an accident, the hotel can get sued?
Absolutely.
Or your store, or your restaurant, or your bar can get sued?
Yes.
And now they have training that you can actually provide that will protect you from being sued?
Yes, because you have to find a reasonable effort. to make sure people are not getting intoxicated and leaving your establishment and then go on to incur damages.
This is quite interesting. What I like about it is a lot of people always question, what is it that I can do as a business and what am I good at? And what we're finding out today is something that I had not even heard of, that, you know what, the people that serve you alcohol in the restaurants or in the nightclubs or in the hotels have to be trained in order for them to tell you it's enough. You cannot drink anymore in case you get into an accident. We are talking about juggling between being a single parent and working or owning your own business. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
As a youth motivational speaker, author, and coach, Dr. Stem understands that in a world where today's youth and parents are jaded and disappointed by institutions and people they perceive as out of touch with the reality of their lives, motivation is a dose that is much needed. It's time to excel. Dr. Stem Malatini is a refreshing change from the typical speaker. Dr. Stem understands the pressures, heartaches, temptations, hopes, and dreams of the generation that is just now coming of age. Students listen in transfixed silence as she speaks with the clarity and confidence of someone who has worked with teens, parents, and teachers for over 20 years. Her high-energy school assembly programs create a defining moment for schools and provide an experience students never forget. To reserve your seat in one of her coaching sessions, purchase her books, or to book her services, email her at drstemmalatini@gmail.com or go to her website at www.drstem.org.
You mentioned your business being tips training, which before we went on break, I spoke to the audience and let them know what tips training was, just to elaborate. That's teaching the hotel staff, the restaurant staff, anybody that serves alcohol to serve it responsibly.
Yes.
You also mentioned that your business, you also do
Food safety.
food safety. What is that?
So a lot of people, hear about food safety and they're wondering what it is.
Yeah.
So when you go dine out, right, you're expecting to eat food and, be healthy and safe, right?
Yes.
You're not expecting to get sick.
No.
So what I do is I actually go into food establishments and I teach them how to serve that food safely. So I actually go into talking about foodborne illnesses. Yes, and address all the different foodborne illnesses that are out there and how deadly they are. Because a lot of times when people hear it on TV that, there are 9 people that died of salmonella because there was a peanut butter outbreak, everybody is shocked.
Yeah.
Whereas, I'm not, because it's something that I have had to teach, way before I own my own business, because it's something that's addressed to the, food industry. And the FDA, works hard with the health department to make sure that, it's taken care of. It's even like cooking chicken. A lot of people don't realize that, if it's cooked under a certain temperature, it can actually give you salmonella. So I go into the, nitty-gritty of how to keep the consumer and their customers safe.
So you know what? I'm not surprised that you're now doing this as a business, and this is something that you're actually traveling around the world to different hotels and restaurants doing training for food safety.
Yes.
Because being a best friend, she would walk in the house and then I take out chicken and put it on the counter so that it can defrost, or fish, put it defrost. And oh boy, you get a whole lecture about, no, you're not supposed to put it out there. And then, but that was helpful because I didn't know. Tell the audience about that chicken, thing that you used to tell me, because then a lot of people still do that. They put the chicken out the whole day and then cook it at night.
Oh yes, because we grew up seeing that at home. We grew up seeing that. Take the chicken out and just leave it there, go to the mall and come back.
Yeah.
But you know what I didn't realize even myself, before getting into this was, bacteria takes about 15 to 30 minutes to start, multiplying rapidly, okay? Yes, it does, and the thing is, some bacteria can actually survive harsh environments. And it can survive cooking or freezing. So sometimes even cooking it thoroughly doesn't even help, because then you're gonna go home and you're gonna have that stomach cramping and you're gonna have that vomiting and diarrhea, and you're going, what happened? And sometimes it's not the restaurant that made you sick. You made yourself sick in the house, you know?
So what's the advice for taking out the chicken or the fish?
Well, what you want to do is when you take out anything from a freezer, there are a few methods that you can actually use. You can do running water, cold running water. Put it in a container and let water run through it so bacteria doesn't start to accumulate or multiplying rapidly. Or you can actually thaw in a microwave. However, once you thaw in a microwave, you've got to cook it right away. It cannot go back in the refrigerator. That does not work. You know, again, you can take chicken and put it at the bottom shelf of your refrigerator. Do not put it on top of the shelves where it can drip on your ready-to-eat foods, you know, because now you have cakes and things that you're going to eat without cooking or washing, and the chicken is dripping on there. So you want to put it at the very bottom shelf and let it, you know, thaw out. And it depends on how big it is. If it's a turkey, then you want to allow a few days to let it thaw out. Or you can just do it as a cooking process. Think about when you go to a restaurant, if they don't do fresh potatoes for French fries, they're taking it out of the freezer, right, and just throwing it in the fryer. But again, it's cooking it to the minimum correct temperatures that the FDA advises us to do.
Let me tell my audience something, because a lot of people say, you know, I don't even know what I'm passionate about. I don't even know what to do with my life. Guess what? Finding your passion is as easy as what just happened here. You see, when you tap into someone and you get to ask a question and they get into it and you can't even stop them. And here she was now talking about chicken, and this was all about chicken, but she's going into it and everything, and it's like, okay, I just tapped into something. It's like talking to a pastor, a minister, and you talk about a Bible verse or something, and they start, I mean, it's like, okay, here comes the preaching. So that's how you know what you're good at. That's how you know what you're passionate about.
Right.
One other thing that you do, I think a couple more things that you do with your business. You also do first aid CPR. You're certified.
Yes, I do. I'm a CPR, a first aid instructor.
Yes.
And this is really something that, you know, speaking to your audience today is you can actually save a life by just giving somebody compressions only, not even mouth to mouth. So it's very important that each family, you know, gets to do CPR. Just know the basics, because you can actually save a life. Yes. With everything else that's going on today, it's important that we all know it. My son has learned how to do CPR through me watching my videos, because I'm constantly trying to refresh my memory. And so if I had to drop down right now, he can do compressions.
Yes, yes.
It's very important.
Yeah, and the part of your business that I'm passionate about is your work with women.
Yes.
Tell us, what do you do with women?
Well, I like to make women beautiful, because I think of myself as a woman of excellence, not good. So I attract excellence. So therefore, I want all women to attract the same thing.
You know, where's my assistant? Because then, you know what, look at my face today, because today should be, it's showing the difference. She did the makeup, so we'll give credit to Saru for doing my makeup today, and that's part of what you passionately do as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I absolutely love it. And you've been around me for so long where I can see somebody's makeup a little off, or I go, oh my God, I wish I could fix her. You know, it's just there in me. And, you know, for my friends and my family, well, you all know that, you know, it's like, oh no, we're not going out like that. You know,
it's kind of irritating sometimes, you know,
I know.
like, because she's so passionate about it.
But we're not leaving until we do it.
I gotta do this part.
Because you have beautiful skin, and that flawlessness needs to show. And it's not about, you know, doing, you know, what we did today, where we did a lot of things for the cameras, but you can just do a dish out the door look. Okay, my mom always used to say, don't leave the door without lipstick. You know, so some of the things, they date back, you know, from growing up. So actually, I want to make women look beautiful, because when a woman looks beautiful, she feels beautiful. Isn't that a wonderful thing? When a woman feels beautiful, she becomes more confident. And we need that confidence, because it's lacking in a lot of us. That, you know, well, I don't look good, or I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough. We're all pretty in God's eyes, because we're made different for a reason, right? And so when a woman begins to, when she feels confidence, she begins to believe in herself. right? We
that's
want to
big, yeah.
believe, you want to believe in you. Believe in yourself.
Yeah.
And when a woman believes in herself, she becomes more courageous. And we talked about courage earlier.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I mean, this is what I like about, you know, talking to people like yourself, because then you bring hope to my single mothers out there. You bring hope to the women that are raising our teenagers today. And that's what we're doing for you today. We're going to take another quick break and we'll be right back. Our guest wrote this to me when she was proposing a topic for us to talk about. She said, you know what, I'm passionate about encouraging women to run their own business and start their own business. She says running a business is a great way for anyone, male or female, to really test their limits and can satisfy anyone to lead the way. But for women today, it's more about achieving a sense of confidence and passion. She also said that physical beauty, as well as inner beauty, created by believing in oneself, is the reason why she created Saru International, where she has been able to help women beautify themselves, build their own confidence, and yes, she says it's possible for you to have your own business. So, Saru, I know that's the point that you were trying to elaborate in. What have been your biggest challenges running your own business?
Well, the biggest challenge I've had really is probably mostly the time I started my business. With the recession. It would have been much better if I started today because everything is picking up. You see, you know, business coming back. You know, but again, you know, I was determined to move forward and, you know, start a better life for myself and my son. You know, just trying to, you know, get into the industry and, you know, acquire more clients. So I had to do door to door and get the no's and some yeses. You know what I'm saying? So, and then at the end, you know, I built it to where now I get just referral business. I mean, a little advertising here and there, but mostly it's by referral.
By referral,
yes.
yes.
But, you know, the challenge was really the time I started. Because what I do is actually required by all 50 states and some other countries.
Oh, so it's
Yes.
required by the 50 states. So guess what? If you're watching this and you're here in the United States, that means there might be a tips training in your area, or you can contact Saru, which at the end of the show will have, you know, her give you. In fact, we can do it right now. How can they contact you?
They can actually go on my website and go on www.saruonline.biz.
And there's an email there that they can contact you?
There's an email, there's also a phone number to contact me. I travel, so I can come to you and we can set up the classes that you need to get done. Any questions that you have, I'll be able to answer you and set it up for your establishment to get it all done for you.
So now, are you a trainer as well that can train people that want to start a business like yours in their state, or they have to go through a different training and you're only training companies and organizations that have
Absolutely.
employees?
I can actually train food managers as well. So what I do is if you wanted to do what I do,
Yes.
you would come to one of my classes and become certified first. And then I would work with you because I believe that if I share the knowledge that I have with someone, that they can go to do greater things. So I actually walk a lot of people that want to break into what I do, and you know they can go through the same channels that I did. So after taking the class and the exam and you pass, then you go and take another exam that's offered to become an administrator, a trainer, or proctor. And then after that, then you have to sign up with the company that will provide all the training material, the books, the manuals, and the exams that, you know, also are, you know, state exams, especially for managers and the chefs and then the food handlers, because everybody has to be trained in that. Yes.
This is all new information for me. So the other question that the audience might have is, okay, you mentioned that you're doing three, four, five things in your business. When you started the business in 2008, did you start doing all 5, 6 of them, or was there one that you started, or just 2? what did you start with?
Actually, I started with Mary Kay, and you were there with my journey, of starting my Mary Kay business. And that gave me an idea of what it's like to be, a businesswoman and to be independent. So that's where I started. And then I went into the food safety as well as the tips training. So after that, then I added the CPR because it was in needed training also for the hospitality industry, because we have swimming pools and everything in there, so we gotta save a life. Yeah.
And I remember when I was in Florida that at the university, which I think in every state, at every university, they'll have a business center where you can actually go there, do some research, and there will be people there that can help you find the kind of business that you want to be in, just in case, tips training or even the work that I do as a psychotherapist or as a speaker is not something that's intriguing to you. You can actually go to a local university and talk to them about some of the businesses that, they have in the area that you can create for yourself. Because I did that when I was in Florida. Yeah, I did that when I was in Florida. That's really good. So then with your son, how has that worked with you being at home now and, having to...
Oh, he loves it. We get to eat dinner together pretty much every day, unless when I'm out of town. And, his father is very helpful, in that regard. So, like, now I'm not here, he takes over and makes sure that, he's taken care of. But he loves it so much because now I'm able to, see him, enjoy him growing up, because otherwise somebody else is raising your child, and I'm able to instill those values that I want him to carry out, as a young man. So it's been awesome to go to his projects that he's done for school or any activities that he's doing. It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing feeling any mom or father should have.
Yes, yes. Just talking to you today, I reminisced again and realized that this journey has not always been roses. And what we're trying to do is to encourage you, to motivate you, and to show you that it's possible. Even though it's difficult, but it's possible. You also can be sitting here with us today, and I can be talking to you about how it all started by watching the Dr.Stem show, and then you realize that, I can actually become more than I am today, and I can do more than I'm doing today.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. We all can.
Yes.
It's just, looking within yourself and finding that inner strength to say, you know what, I can do it. If this person and this person could do it, I can do it. Think about people like Steve Jobs that started their businesses like in a garage.
You're right. You're right. So, think about it as juggling between motherhood and work, or even creating your business. Start planning one step at a time, and also know what your limitations are, because sometimes we can talk and all this sounds very interesting, but it's not something that might be possible for you to do at all times. So Saru, I want to thank you again for coming to the show.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll do this again.
I would love to. Thank you so much, Dr. Stem, for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. And thank you for watching the Dr. Stem Show.